Okay, I think we are. Are we streaming? Yes, we are on. Right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. We're double streaming again. So whether you're watching on TikTok live or YouTube live, or do you know what? Whether you're watching this in a couple of days' time when you guys have just thought, you know what? I'm scrolling through the internet. I'm going to look on YouTube and I'm going to find this video here with this exceptionally good-looking gentleman, moi. And we're going to look at what we're talking about. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about, well, what we're going to be talking about, war, tax, and revenge. Now, seems very ominous, doesn't it? That like the global situation in the world is war. It does look like that, you know, the United Kingdom is heading towards a, well, let's just look what the Defence Secretary is saying. Let's just look what the British Prime Minister's saying. You know, we need to be ready for war. We can't take security too seriously. All these things are happening and we can see these in real time, ladies and gentlemen. Also, as a caveat of that, how are we going to pay for this war? In fact, guys, quickly before we go on, have you all seen the video? And there's like Rachel Reeves and she's giving a speech, and there's some guy behind her over her right shoulder, but left as you're looking at it. There's some guy over her right shoulder, over her right shoulder, and he does not want to be there. He's looking at her. He's thinking, I'm literally being made to. I'm like the guy. I think that guy is just, that guy is just communicating the nation's frustration with this whole government. But do you know what, guys? This is the one we've got. This is the one we voted for. We've only got ourselves to blame. And moving forward, what's it going to look like this summer? So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about war in Europe. We're going to be talking about the taxes. We're going to be talking about Vladimir Putin's pledge to seek revenge on Ukraine for the drone strike. Remember, guys, you know, these when you're in a war, there's usually a winner and there's usually a loser. I don't see any caveat between that, guys. I don't see any. Somebody in the chat yesterday, they said the Korean War ended in a stalemate. Well, you know, the Korean War is still technically ongoing, and those two countries are not very cordial towards each other. So, you know, I don't accept that there's ever been a scenario where two countries have been at war and it's just like fizzled out. That's not what happens. That is not what has happened ever historically. There's always been a winner. There's always a loser. It's not good for the loser, and it's always better for the winner. So in any conflict, guys, it's any conflict or competition, it's always best to win. It's always best to be on that winning team, because the losing team, they're the losers. They have one of those on their head. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump up and get the comments. We are double streaming, guys. I guess we're on now. So can you do me a real big favor? What am I going to say? What do we need to do? All the buttons. You guys know what the buttons are. The like, follow, subscribe buttons, the bell notification if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, BlueTube, YouTube, or WhoTube, whatever tube you're watching on. Right, let me jump up, guys. Let me jump up and get these comments. Lots of comments, again, as always. James has joined. Katie Purcell has joined. Hello, Katie Purcell. Hello, Christine Mill 3GB. Missy D has liked the live. Thank you so much. And guys, listen, if you're sat there and you're watching and you like this content, please hit those buttons that help this channel grow, because ultimately that is the only way that this channel will grow. Natalie87 has joined. Natalie87 has liked the live. Rob has joined. Google it. He's saying Sean in capital letters, and I'm saying Google it back in said capital letters with my voice. Somebody joined. Oh, Priv Caro's joined through a share. Lisu, Google it. Sean, did you see the things I've sent you? Guys, listen, I've not had a chance to read through any of the messages that you guys have sent, but I will read through each and every one of those, and I always reply to you. It might take me a while to reply, but I will always get back to you guys if you send me a message. No, I've not. We've been really busy this morning. Like the internet guy was knocking at my, you know how the internet's been a little bit dodgy. the router was like 20-year-old or something, and we live in an old house, and the sockets that go into the wall, they all needed to be redone. So the internet man was literally like knocking at the door this morning at 8 o'clock. So I was running around in my dressing gown, coffee in my hand. The house was like just absolute carnage, and then we've got like the internet man running. Guys, so no, I've not, but I will do Googly. I will get through them. Debbie Doobs is saying morning. Malcolm Lowe over on YouTube is saying hello as well. Morning UK veterans. Morning Sharon Owen. Right. Google it. Military experts give chilling warning, civil war warning over feral cities. Yeah, look, ladies and gentlemen, look, I tell you what's happening. At least, like, I can predict, like, you've got to understand my background, guys, all right? I used to do this for a living. I used to advise governments, NGOs, other government agencies. You know, I used to advise them as a living. This is what I used to do. You know, and these warning signs will have, I mean, I've been giving them to you guys for free for a long time. But the problem is, when you guys, when you get to this government level, you tell the ministers, you say, right, listen, mate, this is the problem in this city. This is gonna fail at some point. I'm telling thee now. You know, I'm telling you now, guys, that this is gonna fail. But a lot of the problems is, you know, people like me tell the government what's gonna happen. They don't listen because the government have to be very reactive. Did I just see someone at that window? Then, guys, can you keep an eye on that window? Right? Is that? I don't know. Maybe there's a ghost outside, guys. I don't know. Nothing would surprise me now. It's 2000 and you know, it's 2025. But Google it. I will come on to that in a minute, actually, mate. But yeah, Google is saying mainstream media reporting military expert gives chilling British civil war warning over feral cities. Do you know what? Let me just find that on the interweb. So last year we was talking, yeah, here we are, guys. So last year we was talking about the summer of carnage 2025. We're now talking about the winter of doom, whereby all these things happen in the summer and then they will continue through the winter, but at a lesser but more intense capacity. And I'll explain what I mean, because those things seem to contradict themselves. Right, okay. So this is an article from the Mirror. Google just put me onto it. Military expert gives chilling. Right, I do that a lot, don't I? I look at the words, then I make my own sentence up. Military expert gives chilling British civil war warning over feral cities. British cities are at risk of becoming feral and could even descend into civil war over the next few years, military experts have warned. So remember how I said that these coming conflicts in the United Kingdom, and nobody else said this, did they? No, everybody else, you know, you've got all these people who are commenting, probably just repeating a lot of the stuff I'm saying. But one of the things I said is that you're going to have geographical divisional lines, whereby you're going to have people who live in the rural locations thinking, whoa, you city guys, do not come into my village. We don't want you. You're not welcome. Please go and do your city stuff in the city. Do whatever you want in the city. Do not come and trample on my wisteria. That's what people are going to be saying. And you know what, guys? I'm going to agree with them. I think that's totally right and fair. But you know, this more people are starting to talk about it now, guys. More people are understanding that what's coming in the United Kingdom, it's going to be. And again, like the more videos I watch of this, of people who call themselves experts, people who go on like, you know, the big podcasts and stuff, they're all saying the same sort of stuff that I was saying over a year ago. But alas, we are not worried about the summer of carnage anymore because you guys all know it's coming, so you're all prepared, and we are looking at the winter of doom. Hang on, let me get these comments. Right, what's happening? What's happening? Right, hang on, guys. Hang on. Right, let me jump down. Debbie Doobs is saying, I was just watching Tommy's, I've not watched that documentary. Morning says, Priv Carroll, things are really ramping up. Google it, Russia, accuses British Council of harbouring spies. Yeah, you see, the thing with spies is, you know, a lot of spies don't, in fact, guys, you know Mike Myers? Do you know Mike Myers, Austin Powers? Right? Apparently, he was working for the CIA. Let me get this, because this is pretty cool, actually. This is pretty cool. Right, Mike Myers. So what's in the Austin Powers? Witness reveals in trial that Mike Myers was working for the CIA. I love Mike Myers. I love Austin Powers. He's fantastic. So apparently, guys, Mike Myers was, again, this is from the headlines that I'm reading. I'm not really going to go much into it, but apparently Mike Myers, Austin Powers, was a legit CIA informer. Like, I just think that's fantastic. Honestly, I like, yeah. But when we're talking about spying, a lot of spies don't actually know that they are spies. So what do I mean by that? Well, you know, the conception of spying is that it's some guy and he's got a tuxedo and he wears an Aston Martin. He doesn't wear an Aston Martin watch, does he? He doesn't wear an Aston Martin watch. He wears a Rolex watch, a Breitling watch. Sorry, is it a Breitling? Breitling watch. He wears a Breitling, no, an Amiga watch. Sorry. He drives an Aston Martin. He's got a tuxedo. He knows every martial arts under the sun. He's fantastic. He's like champion lover, you know, and that is the concept of a spy. The reality is, guys, you know, spies are, well, just, you know, I've said this before. Imagine you're trying to infiltrate I don't know, you're trying to infiltrate Hollywood. You're trying to infiltrate the king of, I don't know, the sultan of some country somewhere. Are you gonna try, like, realistically send your guy in like that with the tuxedo to try and work his way in, sneak in through the back door at like a party? Like, what's that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? There's the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Eraser. Is it Eraser? There's a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger basically, and he's a spy. And at the beginning, he's like, he swims under the water and he comes out of the ice and sneaks in. Are you going to do that realistically, or are you just going to pay someone like Mike Myers? Say, listen, Mike, when you're at that party, mate, can you just find out X, Y, and Z, and then when you're back in America or wherever, come and have a chat to us and just have a coffee and tell me what you heard. That's spying, guys. That's realistically how spying works. You know, and 9 times out of 10, those guys won't actually know who they're working for. Oh, anyway, let me jump down. Criminals access HMRC records of 100,000 taxpayers, says Google it. UK veterans, the winning side writes the history books. They do. Do you know what they do, UK veterans? And I think what UK veterans there is saying, I think there's more to that if you unpack it. Russia launches combined air attacks on the center of Kherson. Katie, good morning. You got the start for a change. Yes, I did get here. I did get here at the right time of the start. I did. Yes, thank you. Snowdrops is saying, have you seen about the man arrested? Oh, no, I didn't. Do you know what? I'm going to go on to this. Let me pin this, Snowdrops. Thank you for putting me onto that, buddy. Man arrested. Let me just do a quick search for this one. I'm just doing a quick search, right? Okay, here we are, guys. Birmingham Live. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So this is from Birmingham Live. This was yesterday. Schools were playing. Right, Birmingham Live. There's a lot of pop-ups. Right, so this is from Birmingham Live, ladies and gentlemen, all right? I'm not meaning to, like, scare anyone. All I'm doing right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm literally reading from mainstream media, all right? Birmingham Live, Tamworth schools placed on lockdown after man with, you know, one of those things that you predominantly chop trees down in the jungle? Alert. Armed police and a force helicopter were sent to Stony Delph area of Tamworth this morning. Schools are placed on lockdown. It doesn't tell you, right, okay, it doesn't tell you anything else, does it? You see, I thought, and this was just listen, guys, tell me if I'm wrong. I thought that now, every time a crime happened, they released the ethnicity of the offender, but it must only happen in Liverpool because we've had several incidents in the country, and all they say now is a man. So again, it must only be Liverpool. It must only be Liverpool police or whatever they come under. Right, let me just try and find another news article, because that one, unfortunately, guys, it doesn't really give us much information. So apparently there's been a man arrested yesterday outside a primary school, man. A primary school. Little kids. Like, what chain of events led for that man with the thing to go and cruise around a primary school? Like, did one of those primary school kids disrespect him on the way to the, did one of those primary school kids at age 8 disrespect him and his brothers on the way to school? And I don't know, like, is that what happened? So this guy went back, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna teach this kid. Really? Is that where we are now in the United Kingdom? And where are all the dads? Literally, guys, this winds me up something rotten, actually. This winds me up something rotten, all right? If I'd have seen that, right, guys, and I'm not condoning anything. Everything I'm going to say would have been in the boundaries of the legal system, all right? But if I'd have seen that gentleman wielding said device in one of his left or right hands, I would have took action involving my washergerries, all right, and I would have diffused that situation within a matter of minutes. Under no circumstances would I have ran into school and said, oh, help me. No, where's all the dads at? Literally, where are all the dads at? Anyway, guys, so let me continue. I'm going to go from GB News because they seem to be a bit more... Schools placed on lockdown after man with a device that you would normally take down trees with in the jungle. A man. Let's see if there's a description. Number of schools have been placed into lockdown. Staffordshire Police concern 8:43 a.m. Why are the people cruising the streets at 8:43 a.m.? What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Has anyone got any more information on this? Sunnydale Primary schools, dude. Like, absolute, like, primary schools. Like, you're what? Like, you're 11 years old at the most in a primary school. Sunnydale, it's instigate. Oh, hang on. Listen, this should terrify everybody. It's always the little things. Sunnydale Primary School confirmed it had instigated its procedure for dealing with an incident of this nature. And that's it now, guys. Our schools, our children, they have to deal with this thing. What has happened over the last 20 years in this country? Why are these events happening more and more often? It's understood that several of the schools in the area have been placed on lockdown, including 3 Peaks Primary Schools. Staffordshire Police have confirmed they have arrested a 34-year-old man. That's all they're saying. Guys. A 30-year-old man from Glasgow, Tamworth, has been arrested. So again, what we're seeing now, ladies and gentlemen, is this new move where different police forces are obviously having different policies and different procedures, because we know from recent events that Liverpool police, if they arrest a man on one of these incidents, they will release his ethnicity within a matter of hours. Tamworth Police, Leicester Police, they don't do that. They don't release any information. They keep that, so there we can see that different police forces obviously have different policies and different procedures. Who would have thought it? Anyway, guys, listen. Listen. Sorry, guys. Okay. Debbie Doobs. Right. This is even worse. You guys, it gets even worse. Debbie Doobs is saying a primary school is aged between 4 and 7. So guys, just conceptualize this for a moment. Now, I don't want to now you guys can see I'm triggered. All right. What circumstances, what chain of events leads a gentleman, a 34-year-old gentleman, because that's all we know at the moment, a 34-year-old gentleman from Glasgow, Tamworth, to go cruising around outside a school at 8:40, was it 8:43? I think 8:43 or something. Like, what's going through his head? What's going through his head? And obviously, he's a gentleman, so I'm assuming that this was it must have been a white Christian from Tamworth, and he was just lost on the way to church or something. That must be what it is. That's my first thoughts, guys. And you know what? As well? I've been trying to put up I've been trying to do some thumbnails today, right? And I did, listen, guys, I've been trying to do, I'd say a thumbnail. I've done my mate a bottle of wine because he's, and that's the label I've printed for it. Can you see there? That's him and his wife. My mate, you see, he's got the crutches, all right? When I was going into AI and I'm doing the AI thing, every time I put a man and a woman, design me a wine label with a man and a woman standing in front of a house. The woman's got black hair and the man's on crutches and there's wisteria. Every time, guys, literally every time, well, not every time because I managed to get that one, but almost every time I asked AI to do it, I had like a mixed race couple. And I'm like, no, my friends are not mixed race, they're both white. And when I put into AI, draw me a white man standing next to a white woman, it said I can't do that because it's against their policy. When I took out the words white, it was totally fine. So is that not positive? Like, honestly, guys, AI is driving on it. Anyway, look, ladies and gentlemen, let's stick on topic. Ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about war, taxes, and revenge. The incoming war that Keir Starmer's talking about, the increase in taxes in the United Kingdom, and the revenge strikes that Vladimir Putin has pledged to Ukraine. Let me just get some comments on here. Right, okay. Malcolm Lowe over on YouTube is telling me that the movie we was talking about with Arnold Schwarzenegger is called True Lies. I thought it was Eraser. Eraser's the other one, isn't it? Where he's like, is Eraser the one he fights the? No, Eraser's like a copy of the Terminator. Malcolm is also saying that maybe we need a reset. Right, okay, hang on. Right, Adam is putting some strange stuff on. We get some fantastic comments on YouTube, but I'm just gonna put him in the timeout, right? Adam's in the timeout. Adam's not gonna be commenting anymore on YouTube. Guys, like, the YouTube comments are wild. Like, you guys are very civilized. You're very civilized. Like, yesterday when my mum phoned, I answered the phone to my mum. Some guy on YouTube said, I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said because it was really offensive, but like, you just don't get this on, like, I don't know, that it's like a rabble on it, like YouTubers, the YouTube lot are just a rabble. You're a rabble, you YouTube lot. Right, anyway, I've no idea what I was talking about, guys. I've probably gone off on just several different tangents. Let me jump up and get these comments, guys. Let me jump up and get these comments. Right, where are we? Yeah, done that one. Yeah, UK veterans, done that. Yeah, snowdrops again. Thank you for putting me onto that one. I will keep coming back to that one. Four Paws are saying, morning. Debbie Doo is saying, I'm telling thee now. Me and Sarah laugh about that. Sammy is saying, morning, Mr. Tyler Evans, did you see Donald Trump said Russia will respond to Ukraine attacks? Then yes. I did see that, and we are going to be talking about that today. We are going to be talking about that today, indeed. April, have I missed much? I don't know. I don't know when you sent that comment. I've just went down a little trigger, guys. I know I went down a trigger. I do apologise for that. Jodie Lee is saying, morning. Danny Boy is saying, did anyone else see the red planet in the sky? He definitely. Right, Danny Boy, did you actually see this? Danny Boy, Danny Boy, did you see this? Danny Boy, did you see this with your own eyes? Like, literally, with your own eyes, did Danny Boy see this with your own eyes? Because I've seen the footage of this online and I've seen the pictures. I genuinely just don't know what to make of it. You know, there's so much AI and, like, you know, and you don't know what to make of it. So the question is, did Danny Boy see that with his own eyes? Tim Skip, morning. Laurie C, morning. Morning, EG News. Oh, and April sent the Doge in Kent update by GB News. I saw that yesterday. Grand Rising all says Lisa. EG News, did you hear about Wales? What about Wales? I used to live in Wales. Tell me about Wales, EG News. Russian drone strikes on Ukraine's north beam of light. 5 people, including a baby. That's, yeah. Oh, a chemical weapon in Wales? Wales are pretty, right, I will have a look in that in a minute. There is a picture going around. Snowdrops. Right, snowdrops. We have to be really careful what we talk about on the live stream. So I really don't want to get this live stream banned. I want to keep it. I want to keep punching forwards. Oh, thank you, AG Aesthetic. Subscribe, moved over from TikTok. Yesterday morning, EG News exactly. Linda Lou say morning. Debbie Dukes, primary schools 4 to 7. Sean, I sent you a video. Right, okay, snowdrops. I will have a look at that video once I finish this, and I may do a standalone video about it. EG News, if he was... Right, EG News, we don't know. EG News is saying if he was white, they would have divulged it straight away. We don't know. We don't know what the police procedures are. We don't know what the police policies are. Look, guys, I have to say that to be impartial. My opinion is the same as you guys, but, you know, there are certain things I can say and I can't say because I don't want to get the live banned. EG News is saying we definitely need a reset. Danny Boy, yes, right, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember that, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the pictures going around of the massive red sun. Well, I'm telling you now what it is. I'm telling you now what this is. So, Danny Boy, I'm going to speculate they've got those sulfates in the sky and they're blocking out the sun. That's what I'm going to say it is. That is what I'm going to say that is. That is my opinion. Danny Boy, if you've seen that with your own eyes, mate, I trust you. I've not seen it. So the big ball in the sky, again, maybe it's Nibiru. Maybe it's Nibiru. We don't know. I'm going to go with the most likely thing. Look what's been happening in the news. Britain got funding to seed the sky with something to lower the sun's temperature. And you know what, guys? It's working. It's absolutely freezing. I'm going to say that is the sun trying to get through the atmosphere, and there's too many particulates in the atmosphere. And again, if that is the case, then it doesn't seem like a good day. Yeah, so Kaz is saying I've not seen it myself, but it's all over my, it's all over my FYP, which is for you page. Look at my hair, ladies and gentlemen. Look at my hair. It's got a mind of its own this morning, guys. Listen, if my hair starts moving on its own, can somebody please tell me? So yeah, guys, listen, if anybody's seen that red thing in the sky, I'm speculating that it was the sun. Right, was it as well as the sun? Was it as well as Danny Boy? Was it just the sun on it? Was it in the place of the sun, and was it just the sun red, or could you see the sun as well? Like, you know, that's what I'm asking. Was it in the place of the sun, or could it have just been the sun shining through a load of, you know how they said they were going to spray the earth with something to stop the sunlight coming through? Is that what we could be seeing? Oh my, by the right. Okay, thank you so much for that, EG News. Right, I will come on to this. I will come on to this. This is terrifying. What do you know? What city in Wales it was? I'm going to assume it was Cardiff. No, I can't find anything. I can't find. Oh, right, guys, listen, we're going down here something that I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this, ladies and gentlemen, right? If you're watching on YouTube, there's a lot of people commenting on TikTok saying about this red sun that, whoa, Danny boy. Right, okay, right. I'm just trying to take in this information here, guys. I'm just trying to take in this information here, right? Because there's people in the chat talking, right? So we've got two things going on at the moment. We've got we've got the government, we've got war, we've got taxes, we've got the revenge from Vladimir Putin, but we've also got the double sun thing. Right, we've got people here in the chat who are saying that they actually saw this red sun in a different place as the sun. Right, guys, listen, did you see that with your own eyes, or are we talking about stuff you saw online? I'll trust you and we'll go with it, but like this, if this is true, this should be bigger than any news story. Because you know what, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, we only have one sun. I may be wrong. You know, all the work I did for the space industry and in aviation with solar panels, with photovoltaics, maybe it was all wrong and maybe we have two suns. But as my understanding of physics is that we have one sun and we are not a binary star system, guys, all right? But look, if this is true, right, I'm going to have to Google this. Guys, because listen, I'll be honest with you guys. I dismissed this as some sort of AI and one of those things that was pushed around, guys. I did. Right, Danny boy, I'm just going to pin this. We are changing. Right. This is the biggest story in the world right now, guys. This should be the biggest story in the world right now. It could have been a nuclear missile. It could have been anything. Two suns seen Right, they're saying it could be like the reflection, but I know red. Are we talking about red planet? Right, guys, look, I'm just going to monologue on this a little bit, what I think it is, because if you guys are actually seeing this as it was seen right, guys, look, forget wars, forget wars, forget taxes, forget what Keir Starmer said, forget what Donald Trump said, forget what Vladimir Putin said, forget all of that, guys. Do you know what? You know, if we've got another planet in our solar system that's that close to Earth, that means like alien invasion, Nibiru, Boogosphere, the Anunnaki, planet of the crossing. It means it was all true, all right? That's what that kind of means. And that is a bit of a bigger deal than are we going to get taxed on our lager or not. So guys, look, I'm going to have to do some more work into this, but like if you guys are saying you've seen that with your own eyes, that's both fascinating and terrifying in equal amounts. 5 men. Oh, right, yeah, 5 men. But the sun set. Right, but the sunset was in a different place. Danny Boy's saying the sunset is in a different place. The sun can't set in a different place unless we're on unless the gravity of this planet, that's coming is like turned the Earth a little bit, and now we're spinning on a different axis. I don't know. Can you imagine, guys, just for a second, right? If there is like an alien planet just like outside the sun or something, and they're all planning an invasion, and we're all here just like, oh yeah, we don't know what's happening. I hope we've still got internet. I hope we still get internet. Lisa is saying, yes, 2 suns and a moon all seen. That is phenomenal. I'm going to have to go and have a look at it. It's on the Wales, right, Wales Online. Let me get on the Wales Online, because apparently there was another Wales Online. Well, there's nothing on the headline on the Wales Online apart from a train hitting a tractor, a red tractor. Or is it a red train? It's a red tractor. Right, I'm gonna have to come on back to that, guys. Let me get your let me get the comments. Yeah, Lisa, it is wild. Lisa, it is wild, you know, that there's a total media blackout on this thing. If it's real, guys, like if this is real and like, and people are seeing this and they're seeing this like red planet and the sun and they're different things, like that should legit be the biggest story around the world right now. Like with crop circles as well. These things should be the biggest stories, but they're not, because we're more fixated on like little patches of land and stuff, and where people are gonna where people are gonna drop bombs. It could be our hidden moon, says Debbie Doo. Free school meals to be extended for 500,000 more children. What a waste of tax. Yeah, do you know what? I do think that is a waste of. Look, I struggle with this, guys, because nobody wants to see hungry children, do they? Nobody wants to see hungry children. Nobody. But also, nobody think like we shouldn't have a scenario where mums and dads, and I know they do this, so don't anybody say that they don't do this, because I know mums and dads, you know, that don't feed their kids and, you know, go to the pub and they've always got beers in the fridge, but they've never got food, you know. So I do know parents like that, guys, you know, I do know parents like that. Now, giving them more money, is that empowering them to have more beers, or will they be spending that money on their kids? I don't know what the solution is here, guys. Nobody wants to see hungry kids, me least of all. Sharon is saying maybe it's the asteroid. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what it is, do we? It's crazy. EG News, it was 2 days ago. Right, I will look back on that. I will look back on that. Paul Poops is saying, ChatGPT says the sun phenomenon is probably sundogs. Yeah, it's not sundogs. Well, from the pictures I've seen anyway, like a sundog would be where you've got the sun there, and then you've got like a little sun underneath it. And again, I struggle to see how that's a thing anyway. But yeah, a sundog would be like a sun underneath it. What we're talking about here is the sun and then an equally sized red glowing ball, like relatively close to it. So like it's equally sized. Sundogs are, you know, are like, I'd say like between 5 and 10% of the actual sun. It could be one of the solar flares. Solar flares are not spherical. Formation in ice crystals in the atmosphere. I see this daily in my job. What do you mean there, April Lee? What are you talking about, April Lee, that you see daily in your daily job? Can you, sundogs? Are we talking about sundogs? Mill is saying, if the government forced children to go to school, their food should be paid for. The education system's a fantastic thing, isn't it? You know, like, right, I get every argument with this education system, I do. We send our kids to school to learn, but what are they learning? Like, realistically, what are they learning? They're not learning, they're not learning to be objective. They're not learning to do their own stuff. They're learning what other people have said before them. Now, I get that at a rudimental age, you need to teach kids something. they need to learn to read, they need to write, they need to, do maths, but when you get to a certain stage, and I don't know what stage this would be. It certainly wouldn't be primary school. Maybe the last year at comprehensive school. Maybe at the last year at comprehensive school, they say, right, okay, we've taught you all the stuff now. We're now going to teach you how to think for yourselves and how to think objectively and how to think outside the box and, and to think, right, what are the solutions to problems and to make your own stuff up. And by making your own stuff up, I mean, come up with your own theories, come up with your own solutions. Don't just look at what other people are doing. Be creative and try and innovate yourself, because that's not something that ever gets taught. And it does seem to me like they teach people to go into jobs rather than teach people to be leaders. Debbie Doobs is saying, just read that you can see Mars in our sky. Could it be that? No, Mars is absolutely tiny. It just appears as a star, or a red star, though. What we're talking now is an actual huge globe comparative to the sun. Man admits sending his wife to a beam of light as she pushed baby in the... Wow, let me go on this, guys. Let me go on this. Wow. Right, Google it. When is that? Because I've got this article from but it's from 2024. So I can go. The only one I've got here is so this is over a year old. Googling what I'm looking at here. Man charged with transcending a woman into a beam of light as she pushed the pram in Bradford. The gentleman's name was Habibur Masoom, 25, accused of the incident. So I mean that's from over a year ago. That's from over a year ago. Let me come up and get these comments. BBC article 5 minutes ago. Right. Okay. Right, so there's been more of these incidents. BBC. No, I've still got it from. I've still got it from 2024. Googly, can you check? I've learned how to type with my left hand. That's fantastic. Right, I think that's an old article, guys. I think that is for an old article. Right, let me jump up and get these comments. Let me jump up. April is saying parents spending... right, okay. Right, okay, so what we're talking about there, guys, is the new money that's now being announced for parents to feed their children. I'm just going to pin what April's saying here because she's using some words that I don't want to... Oh, and thank you, Tyler Evans, for your subscription, buddy. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. April is saying parents spending money on... I'm just going to say... spending money on things that on the pub, let's just say that, guys, and then they use food banks on a Friday and the children are hungry. Yeah, nobody wants to see hungry children, me least of all. And I'm going to say, guys, I'm going to put it out there, right? A lot of these parents that have hungry children, I think a lot of those parents need to do a little bit of fasting every now and then. I'm just putting it out there, guys. I'm just putting it out there. I'm saying what I say. I'm not going to lie. There's one particular woman I'm thinking of right now. And I don't want to get this live banned, right? But there's one particular woman I'm thinking of right now who I know, right? Who I know. Sarah knows her as well, all right? And she is, when I see things like this, parents, parents not looking after their children, she's the woman that I think of. All right, she's always in the pub, she's always got money to go down the pub, but her kids are always, her kids are. But she doesn't use that spending on her kids. That's what I'm saying, and it really winds me up, guys. It really winds me up. If you're gonna have children, all right, as soon as you have a child, that child is your responsibility, and that child is a reflection of you. And everything you do in your life should be to give that child the best start in life and put them above yourself. So when I see things like, parents going to the pubs when the kids are hungry, it winds me up beyond belief, ladies and gentlemen. It winds me, honestly, guys, it gets me so angry. Right, let me get the comments. Like me, we hardly ever go out, it's, anyway, right, Mill is saying, they teach them to conform in schools, making it harder to homeschool. You see, I was watching somebody the other day, they were homeschooling their children, and what they were actually saying is, oh, hang on, we've got a comment over on YouTube. There are patterns for the fake sun. I mean, are we living, guys, are we living in a flat earth? Could this be what it is? Are we actually living in a flat earth? I mean, really? Is that where we're going now? Are we living in a flat earth? There are patterns for the fake sun. So, yeah, this thing, guys, I am going to have to look more into it, because I've seen, like you guys, I've seen the images of I've seen the images, basically, of the big red ball in the sky. And first of all, I'm like, is that right? First of all, like, you don't know what you're seeing anymore. You literally can't believe what you're seeing. And I'm like, right, yeah, it's AI or something. It's too fantastical for it to be real. But a lot of you guys in the chat, have said this, you saw it with your own eyes, a big red ball, and it definitely wasn't the sun, because you could see the sun. So, like, what is this? Do we have another planet orbiting Earth that's just out of range? Like, and is that why the sky is all overcast now? Right, Jumose Po is saying good evening, Sean, because he is in, I think he's in New Zealand. BB, right, okay, yeah, that was a while ago. Guys, listen, all you subscribers, thank you so much for the subscribers. Honestly, like, our channel has come on leaps and bounds since you guys have subscribed. We can now do subscribers only videos. And again, the subscribers, like the thing, it's at the minimum point, and it will always be at the minimum point it can be. Now, the reason, and again, I need to keep saying this, the reason we have to do subscribers only videos sometimes, in fact, let me ask my mate here, is because if I get an update from like Ukraine or somewhere else, oh, hang on. If I get an update from Ukraine, from somewhere else in the world, and that information is not out there in the readily available yet, that video that I put on will literally be taken down as fake news. Equally, if I do a video and say, listen, guys, the summer of carnage, I believe this is going to happen. I believe this is going to happen. Get this done now. Those videos will get taken down for, having fear, or, they get taken down. And that doesn't help anyone. So what I will say, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a subscriber and you do see one of my subscribers' videos, please, if that is resonating with you, please share that information with your friends and your family, because lots of people now are, in fact, let me read you this headline. I've been talking about the Summer of Carnage since last year, telling you when it's coming. This is from an article from yesterday, I think. Military expert gives chilling British Civil War warning over feral cities. People are starting to see, and it's starting to come in the mainstream, the things that I was saying over like a year ago. And I've not changed, well, less than a year, actually. And I've not changed my tune. I'm not changing my mind depending on what the mainstream media is saying. The mainstream media are changing them, are saying the things that I was previously saying. Let me just send this, guys, again. Sorry, we might get an update there. We might get an update. So yesterday, my friend sent me some wormwood, and I got some. In fact, guys, can anyone tell me what you use wormwood, aniseed, and fennel seeds for? Does anyone know what you use wormwood, aniseed, and fennel seeds for? Well, I made some of that yesterday. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you so much, guys, for you guys who've subscribed. Really do appreciate it. Danny Boy sent me a video. Priv Carroll is saying, all kids deserve a parent, but not all parents deserve children. Do you know what? That should be on a t-shirt, Priv Carroll. That should be on a t-shirt. Yeah, it's terrible, guys, to see. It's terrible to see. But how do you deal with that when you see that in your communities? Electric bike, pedestrian, and car collides. Okay, right. Thank you so much, Joe, for your good words. What's your thoughts on Rotherham Mayor's speech in Urdu? So, for those of you guys who don't know, Rotherham has a new mayor. It's a woman, and she is of, I believe she's of Pakistani descent. First of all, I couldn't care less. You know, on the color of anybody's skin, if they do the job right and well, and they're fair, and they look after everybody in the best way that they can. Do you know what? Not even in the best way that they can, in the way that is expected of them. Because, you know, we've all seen people in jobs and they just can't do them. So I'm not saying that they should continue to do them if they can't do them, but you see where I'm going with that. But there's a video out of the Rotherham Mayor, and she's like in the Rotherham office, and she's doing the whole speech in I didn't know what language it was, but Debbie Doobs is saying it's in Urdu. Now, to be fair, I think this is for a Pakistani news channel. I do think this is for a Pakistani news channel, but you know, I don't know. It just shows you, like, what I would ask is in Pakistani Muslim culture. And in fact, you know what, guys? I'm not even going to make speculations because it might get the video banned. What I'm going to do is ask you guys the question: how is the male-female relationships in some of these cultures? Do men and women have equal roles in the family in some of these cultures, or does the woman have to do what the man says in some cultures? Or potentially in some cultures, does the woman have to do what the man says? You know, so I'm just going to leave that with you there, and then we're going to ask, who's really running the shots, the man or the woman in this, Oh, and Millie's saying, I love listening while I'm cleaning my house. Oh, thank you. Well, I hope I'm giving you some good cleaning inspiration. Right, let me jump down. Any thoughts on the Trump travel ban, especially with the... Oh, here we are. Joe Massey has got it. Yeah, where's Joe? No, Joe Massey's got it. I'm just going to pin him there. That is exactly what I was making. That's what I was making. I've made my first batch. It's macerating right now, and then we're gonna have a little swizzle and see what that tastes like. Sean, I love this group because it's informative and realistic. Yeah, well, yeah, but listen, guys, I'm very realistic, and you know, one of my problems, like as a governmental advisor, and when I used to I've worked with some big companies, like, you know, I would give them the advice what they needed in about seconds, and then I'd start talking about aliens and stuff, and like, have they got, like, is there a governmental plan for a zombie apocalypse? You know, and then people were like, oh. And then always the stuff that I said would always happen. Now, it helped me along in a lot of places because, like, some people would say, no, let's just have Sean in because, like, Sean will tell you what we need to do within 30 seconds, and then the rest of the brief will just be a scream. Right, Sean, do you have any thoughts on Trump travel bans? Yeah, these travel bans, guys, these are normally what happens before a conflict. If you remember the Ukraine, there's still a travel ban to Ukraine. There's still travel bans in various. I don't think they can do travel bans. I think they can do advisories. Obviously, they can't ban anyone from traveling anyway. They do travel advisories. But normally these things happen before a conflict. Because obviously they don't want to you know, they don't want to. If they're sending the things over, you know, the things that come over from the sky, they don't want to hit any of their own people because that is embarrassing. Lisa is saying, a parasite cleanse. No, but did you guys know that the original absinthe was, it was medicinal, and it was a medicine, and they used to keep the alcohol, they used to have to keep the alcohol content that high to preserve the botanicals in the absinthe. Googly saying, the guy from America, Hagseth. He sounds like, the word Hagseth sounds like a Dark Ages steel mason who makes swords. Aye, can you go to see the Hagseth? He'll make you a really good sword. Yeah, but he's now saying NATO needs to spend 5% GDP on security. Yeah, 5% GDP. Kaz is saying, can the UK afford 5% GDP? Do you know what? This is a perfect segue into, so Kaz is saying, can we afford 5% GDP? Which is a perfect segue into the crux of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, which is war, taxes, and revenge. We've not even mentioned the revenge yet. So it does look like the United Kingdom is gearing up for a global conflict on an industrial scale. More spending. The UK, I believe, have just said they're going to spend 3.5% of GDP. And then Hagseth, the medieval stonemason from some mythical land, has said it needs to be 5% of GDP. Look, realistically, like I said before, guys, you know, in a conflict, you get a winner and a loser. So the amount of money we spend on a conflict, it's not going to matter. It is not going to matter. Whether it's 5%, 10%, they will use modern monetary theory to get this thing through the past the posts. Then once that's happened, you deal with the fallout. Like, I didn't realize, I think it was 1996, or maybe even 2006, I think it was 2006 actually, is when Britain stopped paying our loans from the Second World War. Are you live tomorrow? I try to be live every morning, Mill, every morning and every evening, but sometimes, you know, things don't happen. Katie saying wormwood is an anti-inflammatory and a pain relief. Yes, and this is what absinthe is made of. Like I said, absinthe started off as medicinal. In my house, April is saying, in my house, my husband just agrees. Kaz is saying that the bans are for people from those countries traveling to the United States. Right, yeah, well, okay, in that context then, Kaz, what that would be is, you know, remember what we said about spying earlier on the live stream? We said that people a lot of the time don't know that they are spies. So people traveling, and the more of these people traveling, going to these high profile meetings, high profile events, they rub shoulders with people, and then they are, they rub shoulders with people, and then when they go back to their home countries, somebody knocks on their door. Hello, mate. You was at that party, wasn't you? Yes. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Or even before they go, they just say to these people, look, we are the government of said country. We're trying to find out information on X, Y, and Z. I know you're going to be talking to these people. Could you try and find it out for us? And that's how spying actually works, guys. All right, that's how real spies actually work. These days, of somebody, in the bushes with a little binocular or something, it just doesn't happen. Or maybe it does, but under very rare circumstances. Sean's going to meet the Green Fairy. Yeah, maybe I am. Sean, right, and Rachel Samantha is saying, Sean, what's Putin's next move going to be? Right, I'm not going to, right, let me just get up on here, guys. I'll come on to what the mainstream media are saying. In fact, I think I've got it up, actually. Yeah, I've got it here, actually. Right, so I'm reading this now, ladies and gentlemen, from Sky News, direct from Sky News. So again, I have to caveat this because there's people in the chat. Oh, Sean's sending misinformation. No, I'm not. I'm literally reading and then giving you guys analytics. So Putin, very strongly vowed revenge against Ukraine for drone strike on air bases, Donald Trump says. The US president said that he discussed Ukraine's drone attack, which destroyed more than 40 Russian warplanes, with Vladimir Putin during an hour and 15-minute long phone call. I wonder how those things happen. Like, do they just did he just text him and say, Vlad, you busy, mate? Question mark and some emojis. Or do you reckon like Trump just sends, like, they've got a special emoji and it's like aubergine, it's like aubergine, phone, and then like warplane, the fire sign, and then lol, and then question mark. Do you reckon that's what they do? They just send each other emojis, and then like Vladimir Putin's phoning back up and he's like, Donald, I got your text. What do you mean? I have no idea. I'm really busy. And then Donald's like, hey Vladimir. No, that's not Trump, is it? That's not Trump. Vladimir, I saw the Ukrainians attack your country. It was a real bad attack. It was a terrible thing. I've always said it's a terrible thing when they attack your country. I just want to send my condolences to the military-industrial complex in Russia, and if there's anything we can do to help you along and stop the people dying. Vladimir, I'm very busy, Vladimir. I'm very busy, Donald. What do you want? Like, do you reckon that's how it goes? Or do you reckon it's like scripted and they have timings to do this? Thank you, Debbie Doom, again for your subscription. Thank you so much, guys. Absolutely thank you so much, all you subscribers. I really do appreciate it, each and every one of you. But anyway, I'll continue. Donald Trump has said that Vladimir Putin very strongly. How do you tell someone strongly? Vladimir, go to video call. Go to video call right now. Right now, go to video call. You know, my signal's not really that good in the White House, and I've only got one bar. They kind of wait. No, Donald, you have to go video call right now. Okay, man, I'll do it now, but I'm telling you, you may be glitching. And then, like, Vladimir Putin's lifting some weights when he tells him, and that's how he tells him strongly. He's like, yes, I tell you very strongly now, there will be repercussion for this attack. Sorry, guys, the video was focusing. But we're using the other camera for the YouTube, so the YouTube camera is better. So when this uploads, guys, if you guys want to go and watch it on YouTube, that won't be happening. Anyway, more than 100 Ukrainian drones were deployed, blah, 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 blah. Right, it doesn't really give us any more information, but I just saw, right, on BBC News, right, BBC News. Right, what are we looking at on BBC News now, guys? Heard about... Oh, okay, sorry, guys. Right, are we talking about the Australian mushroom trial? Is that what we're talking about, guys? The Australian mushroom trial? Right, I'll come on to that in a second, guys. I will come on to that in a second, guys, but I want to talk about the potential retaliations from, oh, hang on, guys. I've got an update from Ukraine. Hang on. Right, so, sorry, guys. I did get an update from Ukraine, but that's not for you. That's not for you, guys. That's private. So what we're talking about here, guys, is potential retaliatory strikes by the Russians to Ukraine. Now, one of the potential targets, and I've said this like all along, guys, I've said this all along, one of the potential targets would be the airfields in Poland. I don't think that is going to be the, I don't think the Russians are going to strike Poland. although I do think that is something that will be on the books. The likely targets, I think, would be the manufacturing capacity and the manufacturing facilities. Now, if they use this oceanic weapon system, and I'm not saying they are because the cost of this is phenomenal, but if they do use this oceanic weapon system, that gives the Russians the capacity to literally strike and take out any target that they choose in Ukraine. So I would say, worst case scenario if you're the Ukrainians, or the most spectacular case if you are the Russians, is realistically, guys, the Russians could take and strike any munitions factory in and around Kiev. Now, the reason I say in and around Kiev is because that would have the most media collateral. If they strike somewhere that's like far away from anywhere and nobody sees it and nobody gets any footage of it, you've kind of wasted that, you've wasted that opportunity for that, for the media and the, for the media to take hold of that and say, right, look what the Russians can do. So I personally think that is one of the high end options that would be known as a spectacular. Again, what they could do is they could just send a massive bombardment of drones, of Shaheeds, of cruise missiles, of Iskanders, glide bombs, and they could just absolutely bombard. But strategically, these things don't. Strategically, right now on the ground between Russia and Ukraine, the Russians are still moving forwards every day. So what I think as a secondary option and a more likely option the Russians could do is just go absolutely full out on the town of Pokrovsk. Now, let me just have a look quickly on the map, guys. Let me just have a look quickly on the map. I know I can't share this with you, but I'm just going to have a quick look on the map and see how close they are to Pokrovsk. Right, well, the map's... Well, in fact, it's loaded up. Let me just zoom in real quick. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much on the southern flank of Pokrovsk. They're pretty much where they need to be. And then they need to come in from that north. But I think my two options, guys, all right, would be this retaliatory strike. It needs to be something big. It needs to be something spectacular. Everybody's talking about Orsnik. The Russians could indeed use the Orsnik system. If they use that Orsnik, there's no stopping it. There really is no stopping it. If they are going to use that, that would have to be on a spectacular location that has lots of CCTV, easy for mainstream media to go and look at the carnage afterwards. And in that way, you would get more media collateral. You get more bang for your buck. Also, I think another option would be that the Russians, because they really do need to take that city, but it's not really a city. If it was in the UK or Western Europe, it would be called a town. They really do need to take that town or city of Pokrovsk. So in that context, I think they could just start really bombarding Pokrovsk and think, do you know what, we're just going to get through this and we're going to make it our main intent in the next couple of months to push, drive and take over Pokrovsk. Equally, they could do the pincer movement around Pokrovsk and take that. So they're, literally the ball's in Putin's court. Oh, hang on, I've got an update from my friend in Ukraine. I asked him very specific. Yeah. So this is just from I'm not really telling you anything that I've not said already, but this is from my friend in Ukraine. So I asked him what he thinks the potential targets would be. And he says it has to be something really massive if he's informed Trump about it. So again, we're just saying things that I've already said. So it's going to be a big one, guys. If they're using Orsnik, my suspicion would be they're going to use this in and around Kiev. It's got to be because of the spectacularism of it. If they use Orsnik and it's round Pokrovsk, there's a limited amount of media there. There's limited amount of infrastructure there. And what are they going to achieve, really? If they manage to strike, let me look at the areas in and around Kiev, actually. You see, the Russians have got to, you see, they don't want to destroy things that are too strategic either, because in the back of Putin's mind, he's thinking, right, we've got the heavy industry in Dnipro, we've got the gas industry in Kremenchuk, we've got the nuclear capacity down in near Kherson, and then I would say, if I was a betting man, and again, my bet, you know, I think it's going to be somewhere within the Kiev city limits, guys. I do. I think it would be somewhere within the Kiev city limits. There's plenty of places that are within the Kiev city limits, but outside the populated areas. So maybe a power plant, maybe a munitions factory, not in the city centre, but within the city, if that makes sense. So yeah, I do think it's going to be an attack on Kiev itself, potentially with Orsnik. But again, I may be wrong, guys. I may be wrong. I don't have all the answers. Only Vladimir Putin knows himself, and I would speculate that he doesn't know himself yet anyway. Jody Lee is saying, when do you think the Russian strike will happen? The Russian strike will happen when the Russians are ready. That's when it will happen. It will happen when the Russians are ready. Remember, we do say bad things happen on a Friday. Bad things happen on a Friday because you can make or lose a lot of money on the stock market regardless of your situation. So let's just say, for example, here we go, guys. Here we go. Let's just say. I gave this analogy with regards to the Middle East, but the Ukrainians have, the Ukrainians have just a similar situation. The Ukrainians have huge gas transit routes going through Ukraine into Europe. So let's just say, for example, and I genuinely don't know I don't know the answer to this, but let's just say that there are two gas pipelines transiting through Ukraine. All right, let's just say that for argument's sake. Let's just pretend this. There's two gas pipelines. They transit through Ukraine, and they're competing pipelines. If you knew that on Friday one of them was going to stop working because of a big kaboomer, then on Thursday or whatever, you could put stocks and shares and bet your house on the other pipeline, because the stocks and shares in that other pipeline are going to rocket, because because there's only two. And if you think your gas is going that way, and the bad guys or whoever know that they're going to make this one not work and it's never going to work again, yeah, then what they can do is think, right, we're going to do this anyway. I might as well bet everything I own and put stocks and shares in this pipeline, because that one's going to stop working and this one's going to go through the roof on the stock market. You see what I'm saying, guys? All right. If you know what's going to happen, you can make a ton of money out of it. That's one of the reasons why things happen on a Friday. So, like, it could be as early as this Friday. You know, that would have given them sufficient time to work these things out. Like, what is it today? So, like, tomorrow. It could be tomorrow, guys. It could be tomorrow. It could be Friday the 13th. It's going to be Friday the 13th, guys. It will be Friday the 13th. I'm calling it now, guys. My money is on Friday the 13th, which is going to be next Friday. That's when I'm calling it, guys, and I'm calling it because my intuition's telling me my intuition's telling me it's going to be on Friday the 13th, guys. All right. I understand this culture. I understand how these people work. Friday the 13th is my date for the retaliatory strike in Ukraine. So again, do with that information what you guys want. I'm probably going to do a standalone video on that, guys. I'm quite confident on that. I'm quite confident it's going to be Friday the 13th. Google it is saying Moscow's forces are seizing land in the biggest advance of the year. Yeah, listen, guys, okay, the amount of ground that the Russians take every day is phenomenal. And, you know, these attacks on, on these aircraft, yes, it's a big blow, but you can print money and fix them. You can't print money and get more land. That's kind of the problem here, guys. You know, and the Russians have been systematically taking around 20 square kilometers every day. Tories are doing a live speech on Starmer's failings. Jody Lee, when do you think the Russians will strike? Friday the 13th, guys. That's my date, Friday the 13th. There was talk of Odessa being attacked, but I'm unsure of the truth in it. Judy. There are a few articles stating the attack will be this weekend. It could be, Kaz, it could be this weekend, but I'm going with Friday the 13th. There are also Russia declaring, oh, right, okay, so this is a big one. Right, so if this is true, so Mr. Tyler Evans is saying there are rumours that Russia are going to be declaring war on Ukraine. It's not really going to change anything for the Ukrainians, but that's going to give the Russians the ability then to take more drastic powers in Russia by the means of recruiting. Priv Caro is saying, I feel Putin would delay until a big strike, until the Ukrainians have done more. No, I think this big strike is coming, and I think it will be on Friday the 13th, and I think it will be it could be an oceanic strike in and around Kiev, guys. That's where I think it's going to be. What will be the repercussions? Well, the repercussions from it will be absolutely nothing, because there's nothing anyone can do. Nobody can do anything to Vladimir Putin. Nobody can, this is what we're talking about, guys, right? The sanctions are not working. All the sanctions have done is put the price of fuel up. Our fuel I'm talking about. It's terrible. Yeah, it is. It's terrible. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm just going to jump off screen for a couple of seconds to caffeinate myself. I'm going to jump back. I think I do this in under 30 seconds. So if you guys could just, right, guys, we're at 48,000 likes. Can you guys can we get to 50,000 before I get back on? And that means apparently that we become an international live stream and we start getting people from other countries. Can you guys do that, please? We're at 48,000. I know we can do that, guys. If we all blast the screen like you've never blasted before, blast it like the Friday blasting fingers are out. But it's not Friday, it's Thursday. It doesn't matter because it'll be Friday tomorrow. Let me just jump off screen and caffeinate myself. Oh, right, I'll put that there. That tasted. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been, those of you, I know some of you have, but like when you're in the military and you have coffee, there's a certain taste to it. It's like coffee. It's like 1 part coffee. No, it's like 5 parts coffee, 2 parts tea. I don't know why. Maybe that cup's just not clean. I don't know. It's not like me to complain about a cup of coffee. But anyway, right, we're on. We did 51. We are on, and we did 51. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Right. So I do want to come back onto this, guys. All right. I want to go through this again. We want to go through again. We want to go through war, taxes, and revenge. We've covered them all already, guys. And then I just want to mention this one again because about the schools placed on lockdown. So yesterday, guys, there was an incident in. I'll read you off the mainstream. Schools placed on lockdown after man with like a thing that you would chop things down in the jungle with found outside. Like, I'll read you more, guys, and then we'll just have a little bit of commentary. A number of schools have been forced into lockdown following reports of a man armed with a. I mean, maybe he was just looking for the jungle. Maybe he was just thinking, do you know what? Maybe I might have to hack my way through some trees. Staffordshire Police confirmed it received a call at 8:43 a.m. This morning. So this was yesterday. A man armed. Officers were deployed to the scene in Tamworth near Birmingham. Now, this is the thing here, guys, all right? Stony Delph Primary School confirmed it had instigated its procedure for dealing with an incident of this nature. So, like, what? And again, like, we can all speculate who this person was, and, like, we're all probably right. What chain of events, guys? Listen, if there's anybody watching, you can give me an answer to this, genuinely, because I'm genuinely like horrified and fascinated, at the same time. Like, what chain of events lead a grown man, because as the article says, the only description we've got of him is he's a 34-year-old man. So I would say that's a grown man. What chain of events leads a 43-year-old man to go and stand outside a primary school where the kids are aged between 4 and 7? What, like, in the mornings when, mums and like dads are taking them in, like, what, you know what I mean, guys? What is the chain of events that leads you up till that? I don't know. It's just, but this is the new world we live in now. This is the new world we live in, and I'm enter modernity. So, but these things are happening more and more often. And ladies and gentlemen, look, you've seen nothing yet, because when the summer of carnage gets here, when the kids are off school, when the parents are off school, it just sends a shiver down my spine, guys. It really does. It sends a shiver down my spine. And then I think about myself and I think, right, if I saw that, how do you react? Do you react and disarm that man and get into melee with him, and then you're going to be done, and then you're going to get done with the police? Like, where do you go with this? Because in Britain today, guys, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, I mean, we talked about Lord Hermer yesterday. It wouldn't surprise me in Britain today if one of the dads. I mean, could you imagine this scenario, right? You've got this man outside the school. Let me just pin this here, what Gemini Blessings is saying. You've got this thing here where, kids are going in school, little kids who can't defend themselves to a grown man. Like, why do they never go outside? Why don't you ever see these incidents outside, like, a boxing club? Why are they never why is there never one of these incidents outside a rugby club? After they've finished the game and they've all gone inside for some carbonated drinks, like, why do you never see one of these incidents outside a rugby club, outside a boxing club, outside one of these, like, outside a mixed martial arts club? Why do they always happen outside schools, guys? I don't know. But look, tell me how likely you think this is. Tell me how likely you think this is, right? In today's Britain, this incident happens, all right? One of the dads gets into melee with this guy, and tragically, in that melee, the gentleman who turned up with the thing to prune the jungle, he transcends to a beam of light. Can you imagine now that dad is going through the courts? He's getting done for the word that begins with M, and if you spell it backwards, it's red rum. Like, he's going through the court system now, and you're going to get these liberal lefty lawyers saying, oh, but this man, he was an innocent choir boy. He was just there for a job interview. He wanted to be an architect. He was showing his support. That's his thing that he uses for cooking. He was just a chef. He just wanted to cook some bolognese, and he used to stir the bolognese with that red stuff on the end. That was bolognese. You see where I'm going with this, guys, don't you? And that poor dad defending his child and the rest of the children, he's now potentially looking at. Honestly, guys, like that sort of stuff wouldn't surprise me, and like it wouldn't surprise me, it really wouldn't. And this is, and this is all pushing towards the summer of carnage. But anyway, guys, war, taxes, and revenge. So, let me just turn that one off. Right, guys, I've got too many windows open. Let me turn these off, and then I'll come over and I'll do this again. Off. So we've got off. We've got. And also, did you know that Mike Myers, Austin Powers, used to work for the CIA? Absolutely fantastic. Excellent, baby. Like, I can't even do Mike Myers, but just like, yeah, Mike Myers used to work for the CIA. It came out the other day. Ah, I do love him. I do love a good Mike Myers. Right. I mean, who's going to think that Mike Myers, literally, guys, who's going to think Mike Myers is a CIA spy? It's the perfect cover. Literally, Austin Powers walking in there with a velvet suit. The dude's a legit spy. Right, so we've got, right, hang on. Right, I'm just reading this off a headline, guys. This is from the Economic Times. World War III looms, global leaders given 2 weeks as the clock ticks towards catastrophe. Who's given them 2 weeks? Like the Mistrons? The world may be on the verge of a major conflict following intense meetings in Ukraine and France. US Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal warn that Vladimir Putin is stalling peace talks while preparing a larger assault. They say that in the next 2 weeks, everything could change. That would make sense, guys. That would make sense. That would be in my time frame. It could determine the course of a conflict that has already destroyed cities, uprooted millions of people, and altered the security landscape of Europe. The US senators say the world has a limited time to act before war spirals out of control. They warned that the window to stop the renewed attack is closing. While they're in Paris with talks for French President Emmanuel Macron, who claim is 100% aligned with them. They hope their first-hand findings will shift the momentum in Washington and help bring a skeptical President Donald Trump on board. I don't see it, guys. What I see happening with this conflict, and I've always said this, go back through my videos from, like over a year ago, I've said by 2025, Britain will be taking the lead, and they are. And the Americans will just wash their hands with this situation. And like, it does look like that's going to happen at some point very soon. Could be this weekend, could be next week. But they're saying 2 weeks. I don't know where they're getting that time 2 weeks from, guys. I really don't. I don't have the capacity right now to read down it. Again, I'm not going to read the whole article, but it does say 2 weeks. I don't know where they're pulling that number from. What will 2 weeks be? So 2 weeks would be, I guess that'd come in and around after that, not Valentine's Day, after Friday the 13th. So we've got so it does look like this war is looming, and this is going to affect everyone in the United Kingdom. It'll affect everyone at some way across the globe. Remember, the United Kingdom is going to take the lead role in this conflict in Europe because the United Kingdom have the best strike capacity. So taxes then, ladies and gentlemen, like we've got our internet done this morning, and the guy, he was here this morning knocking at the door at like 8 o'clock. You'll see where I'm going with this, guys. You'll see where I'm going with this. When you have a tradesman in the house, you always do the usual. Do you want a cup of tea, mate? Where you from? Do you live local? How's things? And he was all right. What was his name? Hang on. He sent me a text. Hang on. I'll tell you his name in a minute. He sent me a text this morning. Hang on. Matthew. His name was Matthew. Hi, Sean. It's Matthew, your Sky broadband engineer. Anyway, so Matthew came this morning, and he was a nice guy. He was a really nice guy. Just said to him, I said, so I'm like, all right, mate, yeah, you're busy, do you want a cup of tea? He didn't have a cup of tea. He was really efficient, guys. He was like, zip, 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 getting my old socket out, got me a new route. Anyway, so, I said to him, do you live local? And I'm not going to tell you where he lived because I don't want to compromise him. But he lived in a small, like a small village just over there. Not a million miles away, but all I'll say is it was in the Barnsley area, guys, a small village outside Barnsley. And I said to him, oh, what's it like over there? I said, it's a nice place. He said, yeah, it is. He said, but everywhere, all the pubs are closing down. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the pubs just can't afford to operate anymore because of the taxes. And when we got into it and we started talking, and he was telling me that, this local pub near him, it's like, well, if you're not in the UK, or you've never been to the UK countryside, which I struggle to see anybody on here, like these villages, they have pubs, and like these pubs are ridiculous, like hundreds of years old, these pubs. They've been there since the dawn of time. And these pubs are closing now because they can't afford to operate. They can't afford to operate because alcohol tax, more national insurance. It's just not viable anymore, guys, to have a business. It's not viable anymore to employ people. And like, this is what I've been saying is coming, guys, all right, with taxes. These taxes are absolutely destroying our economy and our ability to, and our ability to feed ourselves, essentially. Now, what happens is, and I feel like I say this every live stream, guys, the government are putting a bigger tax burden on employers. So the employers are going bust. And Angela Rayner's saying, like Angela Rayner, she'll come out and she'll do a speech and she'll say, right, listen, everyone, we're not going to tax the working class people. No, we're going to tax them employers who are profiting, who are taking loads of money off you. We're going to tax them, not you working class people. What? A new pair of trousers? Yeah, I'll have them. Can you get them right big so you can't see the shape of my legs? Oh, thanks, Lord Ali, but yeah, we're not going to tax working people. Like, honestly, and I don't know how many, like, do you understand what happens here? But then those employers go bust. We're not going to tax working class people. We're just going to sack you. We're just going to sack you, and then you can get on bennies. Like, you see where we're going with this, guys? And like, and each and every time that these tax raises against like employers, now, on a small scale, small employers, they feel it first. I spoke to my sister, and like people who have small businesses, guys, they don't earn a lot of money. They don't earn a lot of money. I was speaking to my sister the other day, and like last week, I think she came out after paying her staff, after paying her overheads. Last week was really bad. I think she came out with like 150 quid for a week's work, and she was like working every hour God sends and running a business and paying people. She says, no, like my staff, some of my staff get more money than me on a weekly basis because I have to pay them minimum wage. I have to pay national insurance. I have to give them holiday days, So these small employers, they're going bust first. But don't worry, the big employers, they'll be going bust as well. Because what's been happening to the big employers, say you make, paper clips, for example. Say you make paper clips and you're the world's best paperclip producer. The government's putting taxes on you, so then you have to, you've got money there and you've got liquidity and you can swizzle and change and you can run a little bit longer. You can let people go. You can change things around. But ultimately, if your product has to go up, people won't buy it anymore because there's, let's just say paper clips, right? You put the paper clips up from, and I'm just using this as an example. You put the paper clips up from, I don't know, £1 for 100 to £2 for 100. People go in, they think, well, that's literally doubled. I'm not going to buy them. They put them back on the shelf. Over time, that equates back to the factory because those stores don't want to buy those paper clips anymore. So then they have a surplus of, you see where I'm going with this, guys. So they have to make cuts and they have to go down. We will see big financial institutions going bust, guys. We will. This is all leading into that summer of carnage. So, you know, all these taxes that are coming, guys, it's unbelievable. And we're starting to see it now. We're going to see this more. This is going to be happening more. This is going to be happening. This is going to be more. It's going to be more visible in the 6 weeks holidays. And remember what I've said, guys. I'm saying things now that are happening. It seems like I'm just repeating what's on the mainstream media, but I've been saying these things are coming for a long time. We're going to have more people competing for less jobs. More people competing for less jobs, because when these businesses go bust, when the tax system as it is now, there's no incentive to take a risk and start a business. There's no incentive to innovate. There's no incentive to employ people, you know, because the government are just going to take more money off you. You know, it's just, you know, so that is coming, guys. That is coming. And all these things, all these little factors that seem unrelated, they're all going to feed into that summer of carnage narrative. Right. Will we be taxed on breathing soon? Do you know what? As soon as they figure out how to tax breathing, yeah, I think they will. I think they'll be taxing breathing at some point. Right, let me get some comments. Right, there's a load of laughing emojis. Sean, can you open a TikTok tab? So I don't know how to do it, guys. Right. So if anybody uses the TikTok live studio, can you please send me a message or a video how to use it? Because like the software on the TikTok software is absolutely fantastic, guys. Like honestly, it's better than the YouTube one. But I just don't know how to use it. It's like, you know, the things that like become that good, if you don't know how to use them, you're like, right, I can't use it. Whereas the YouTube one is a lot simpler and I can use it. The TikTok one, it is better because there's more options. I just don't know what they all do. Just a quick question over on YouTube. Hang on. John Anderson, if we go to full-scale war, how would that affect entry requirements to the forces compared to current standards? What a fantastic question. I don't think they'll affect standards. I don't think they'll affect the entry level just yet. Okay, so again, if you take the whole of the EU now as an army, which essentially it's got to be to fight any potential threat in the East, the whole of the EU. And again, when people say, oh, Britain can't fight Russia, I'm like, yeah, but it's going to be with the allies and everything. So that coalition, shall we say, the coalition of the willing, if you take them as a whole unit, Britain would be operating as the special forces, as the vanguard, as the guys who are surging forwards, taking and breaking, striking and seizing ground. And in that context, you need those to be your most potent, your most motivated troops. Now, if you start lowering those standards, initially, I'm saying here, guys, if you start lowering those standards and, you know, just trying to get as many bums on seats, hang on. Am I still on, guys? Am I still on? Guys, am I on? Am I on? I don't know if I'm on. Guys, have I just come off? Did I just come off, guys? I don't know if I'm on. I don't know. Right, I think I may have just come off the YouTube, the TikToks. I'm just waiting for a comment. I think I've come through on a comment. Right, okay, so I'll continue the question because we're still live on, right, am I still live on YouTube? Right, I don't know. This is going crackers. Hang on. Right, that's there. Right, anyway, so with the question was, let me put the question back up because I've just totally swizzled myself. I have totally swizzled myself. Right. Watching on YouTube, you can hear that noise in the background. That's the TikTok studio saying I'm disconnected. But anyway, let me turn the volume down. Right, turn that down. So, is that off? Is that, right, turn that off. Right, so I'm just gonna wait a minute. Yeah, sorry guys, TikTok stopped working for some reason, but YouTube's still on. So that must mean it's a problem with, I don't know, the other server. So the question is, if we go to full-scale war, how would that affect entry requirements? Yeah, I think I've answered that. It's not going to affect entry requirements initially, but I do think as time progresses, as you know, as a conflict moves forwards, it is going to affect things, and they are going to have to open those standards up and let more people join. I think again, they won't let that happen for the teeth arms, and I do think there's going to be a huge increase in the reliance on civilian contractors as well. Yeah, and people are all jumping over from TikTok. Right, guys, I don't know what's happened with TikTok. It's just like, it's not, I'm not banned. It's just saying I've been disconnected. So that is from my computer, and I'm on my laptop. So it must be a problem with my VPN, because I use a VPN on the other one. So it must be a problem with the VPN. So the VPN must be swizzling around. So anyway, I'm just going to go through some comments that are from the YouTubes, and it's saying all leading to universal basic income. Yeah, and I do think a lot of this stuff is leading to. And I do think a lot of this stuff is leading towards universal basic income. You can see it, can't you? You know, you can see cryptocurrencies taking a bigger stand. You can see, you can see Trump pushing for cryptocurrency. You can see, what's the other one? Nigel Farage pushing for cryptocurrency. You can see all these things moving in where, where we've got like the crypto pound or the Brit pound or whatever you're calling it. And all these things are going to mean that we have an app on our phone that just literally does everything. And then it's not a hop, skip, and a jump away, is it? To say, right, we're going to have the app on our phone. Now we're going to have the chip in our hand, which is literally the mark of the beast. But I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows? Who knows? Right. You speak of, Mr. Tyler Evans is saying, you speak a lot about wars. Does it ever bother you for a future, or does your military experience kick in? Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm saying it's like, it's one of those things. Like I joined the military when I was 16. So it's kind of like my area of I guess my area of expertise. So no, it doesn't bother me myself, but I do worry about my children. I do worry about people who are unaware of the potential threats out there. That's what I do worry about, and I genuinely do. I genuinely do, and I see things all the time. People just so blasé to things that we're sleepwalking into, and a lot of the political class, I would say, like a good percentage of the. Right, let me close this down. Actually. And a good percentage of the political class have no idea what they're sleepwalking into, because unfortunately the political, hang on, exit now, yes. And unfortunately the political system in the United Kingdom is such that, hang on, exit now, yes. Yeah, it's my VPN on the, yeah. So a lot of the political system, like for example, like the politicians that we've just spoken about, they have no idea. They have no idea how these things are going to unfold in front of them. And because they have no idea, what they do is they speak to they have to get a report written. They have to get information from a civil servant. They have to get, and that civil servant will then say, right, I need to commission a report on, I don't know, is there any kit and equipment being stolen from the front line in Ukraine? I can tell you now 100% yes, it is. I could tell you it's, but I would have to speculate because I don't have a report written. They would have to then commission a report, and then how's that report going to get written? Actually, right? Okay, so what we're going to do? Well, how we're going to gather that information? Right? Okay, so we're going to go to we're going to send it to the Ukraine team. So we're going to send it to the diplomats in Ukraine. Right? We need to find out if any British kit and equipment is being stolen from the front line in Ukraine. Right? Okay. okay. So then you've got the ambassador and his team in the office, and they're like, right, who are we going to send this to? Right, well, we could give it to our special forces guys, but they're really busy. So what we'll do is we'll give it to the Ukrainian government. Now, they give it to the Ukrainian government, and then what do you think the Ukrainian government are going to say? Yes, all your kit and equipment is being stolen, so don't bother sending us any more because it's just being stolen and it's vanishing. Or you think they're going to say, no, we've got no reports of any kit and equipment being stolen. Please keep sending us more. Like, of those two, which one do you think's the most likely? That then gets sent back and back and back. It's then in a report, it's in a white paper, and that's what they have to go from. And this happens in pretty much every sphere. Each and every person that you ask to write a report, you're going to ask the subject matters in that area to write the report. Now, each and every one of those subject matters will be biased. You don't get to be a subject matter expert without being biased, guys. I don't care, right? So they will be biased, and they will put a slant on that report what they want. Now, you could get a good guy, you could get a bad guy, but either way, a lot of these reports that go back to ministers and go back to politicians, they're flawed in their inception. So then they get that information, and then Angela Rayner, she says, no, that's not what I'm hearing at all. I'm not hearing that at all. All I'm hearing is them Ukrainians want more trousers. So, so you understand the fundamentals of these systems are broken, and the political system, because they don't even know what they don't know. But anyway, guys, right, Priv Carroll is saying, okay, hang on, guys. Right, yeah, guys, listen, the TikTok, for some reason, it just went down, but I used to think it was the internet that was the problem, but it's not. The problem, I think, is with my VPN on my other computer, because I'm on my MacBook now, and literally everything's fine. I'm still streaming. You guys are coming through with the messages, so, I can only assume the problem is with the VPN, because if you guys heard when the thing went up, it was going beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. That was literally the VPN saying trying to reconnect. So it must be the problem with the VPN. Freddie is saying, Sean, set up a little party somewhere and we will all come. The last time I set a party, it was the end of the world barbecue in 2012, and we was in Babylon. We was in ancient Samaria. We was in Baghdad, where it was all going to happen, guys. It was a party to end all parties. Right, hang on, let me pin this. Priv Caro is saying, I just wanted to mention, in Norway, wool cloths are often on sale in the summer. Look for it too if you want to put warm clothes. Warm for the winter, because they are, are cheaper in the summer. Do you know what, Priv Caro, I was thinking about that. I went to, I don't know if you have them in, I don't know if you have TK Maxx in, what is it, in Norway, but like when you're a dad, you do like your shopping at TK Maxx. You don't go to those branded stores anymore. So I was just looking around TK Maxx. I think I had some time to go. Do you know what? I was looking for another lamp actually. I wanted a lamp to go like there or something, behind those chairs at night time to give it like some more depth. Anyway, I was thinking, wow, you know what? Warm winter coats are really cheap right now. Debbie Doobs is saying, my daughter is asleep. Lisa Jane is saying, if universal income is normal, what about savings? So, and Debbie Doobs is saying, good question, Lisa. So my understanding of universal basic income is this. Now, I think that, do you know what? Let me just have a quick, in fact, I can do it on here, actually. I can share the screen with you guys now. So let me just do universal basic income here. UBI trial UK. Right, so let's just share this screen. It's my NordVPN. Right, let's just share this screen real quick, guys, and we'll go through it together. Present, share screen. There we are. Right, so not sharing. Right, so right. How do we get rid of that? Right, So, universal basic income of £1,600 a month to be trialled in 2 places in England. The scheme to run for 2 years, and participants will be monitored to see what effect it has on mental health and physical health. Universal basic income of £1,600 a month is to be trialled in England for the first time in a pilot programme. 30 people will be paid a lump sum without conditions each month for 2 years and will be observed to understand the effects of their lives. Imagine that. That's like literally you won the lottery, haven't you? Like, imagine that. You're like, hello, mate. Can I give you £1,600 a month for 2 years? Yes. What do I need to do for you? Like, can you imagine? 2 places in England have been selected for the micropiracy: Central Jarrow in North East England and East Finchley in North London. Will Strong. Will Strong. Who's called Will Strong? Maybe he talks to Trump and gives him a strong message. The director of the research at the think tank Autonomy, which is backing the plan, said 16-year figure. This is a substantial amount. Universal basic income usually covers people's basic needs, but we want to see what effect this unconditional lump sum will have on people's mental health and whether they choose to work or not. Our society, blah blah blah. Right? Okay. Yeah. So what it said, I remember reading that article before. So what that article actually goes on to do, it talks about universal basic income. And the premise of universal basic income is you just get given money. You can still work. You can still have savings. Money doesn't go away, but you still have that money. Now, what I think personally, and it all sounds good. It does, guys. Believe me, that sounds really good. And it could like lift everybody out of poverty. It really could, because we need a new monetary system. The monetary system in the world right now is broken. And I could argue and like really bore people how a lot of what this happens before a war. The monetary system collapses. It happened in Germany, 1936 or whatever. Oh God, this is doing my head in now. Right, how do I? Right, I mean, you're just going to have to persevere with that noise in the background. It's my VPN keep trying to disconnect and reconnect. So, as they describe it there, you can still work, you can still, you can do what you want. You literally just get given a free 1,600 quid a month. Now, I think this will, people will hail this as a saviour when it's rolled out, potentially after this conflict or whatever, because people will be broken. Like realistically, the results from this study, I mean, what are them people with, like those people with that are being getting given £1,600 a month? Like, do you think they're going to come back and say, do you know what? I wish I hadn't have had it. Yeah, no, it's ruined my life. That I wish I didn't have that. No, don't do it again. I kept it in the bank. I didn't want it. Like, or are they going to say, yeah, it's a fantastic thing. It really helped. I was really happy. You see where I'm going with that, guys? So I do think that's going to be pushed in. Savings, all the rest of it, you can still have those and you can still work. It's just you get extra money. But now the dark side of this is when you get told what you can and cannot spend your money on. So, for example, it starts off as you get 1,600 quid, but then the government change it to, right, you know what, you can get 1,600 quid's worth of crypto pound or whatever, and you can only spend it on your app. Okay, right, fair enough, I can only spend it on my app. Then a couple of months later, right, you can only spend it on your app in approved stores. Right, okay, I can only spend it on my app on approved stores. Right, all right, whatever, I can only go to these stores. And then those stores have to have certain approvements given to them. So they have to have this certification, that certification, this, that, this, and that. So they're the only stores that can do it. All right, okay, fair enough. Right, okay, I'll get my store done because I don't want to lose out on this free money that everybody's getting. Right, okay, fair enough, I'll do that. And then we move down the line of, again, this is total conspiracy theory here, guys, so take it if you will. Then we go down the line of, okay, right, there's a medical emergency. Right, everybody everybody needs to take this medication. It's safe, it's effective. Everybody needs to take it, and if you don't take it, we turn your crypto pound off. New stores that all your staff don't have this, we're going to turn yours off as well, so you can't operate. So you see where we're going with this, guys. You know, you see how this could be. It could be fantastic. It could be really bad. Judging from what's happened recently in the world from 2020 onward, I would go with it would be the latter. Anyway, guys, listen, I am going to close this down. I don't even know how long I've been going. Almost 2 hours. So yeah. So with UBI, guys, I'm just cautious about it. I really am, guys. I'm really cautious about. Oh, right. So many. Right. There's a load of comments. Let me get your comments. Right, there's so many comments. Right, where are we? Right, we've done that one. Good question, Lisa. Lisa Jane saying, Sean, I worry too, Sean. My daughter is my world, and I didn't bring her into this world to experience today's living. Listen, okay, that like, if your child, like I always tell the girls, I say, listen, you girls are gonna. Sorry, I was just getting a little bit emotional. Like, if you've got kids at school now and they're like, and they're at school, so primary, secondary, if they're at comp, you know, that's going to be the generation they're going to be like the boomers. They're going to be the next boomers, because when all this is over, you know, everything will be better because people will be strong. People won't put up with that stuff, you know, and things will get better. But they're not there yet. Hi, Sean. Looks good for Tommy Robinson. I don't know what that means, Emma. Can you give us more information on that? Priv Caro, no, we don't have that kind of store, but online stores have sales. Yeah, okay, all right, okay. Angela Reyna, anybody who has someone in the military is worrying the way things are. Right, okay, so Jill Paget, right, what I will say on that, right, okay, people join the military. I can only speak from my experience and the people I was with in the military. Right? People joined the military because that's the kind of job that they wanted, and they wanted to do that stuff. And everybody in that sphere wants to do that stuff. Yes, sadly, it is the families do go through a lot of stress. You know, Iraq, Afghanistan, multiple tours of Northern Ireland, more stuff in the Middle East, in Syria, Ukraine. Where else have I been? All these countries, you know, families at home, they do worry a lot. But you know what? There was a statistic done, and again, I don't know what the future conflicts are going to be like. There was a statistic done from where was it? I think it was Kandahar airfield. I may be slightly wrong on this. It was definitely in Afghanistan. But there was a statistic done, and they took everybody. So they said, right, how old are these people? And in the military, it's mainly men in a certain age bracket. What they actually found out is, like, if you're deployed on operations, and this is statistically, guys, if you were deployed on operations, statistically, you had a higher life expectancy than if you lived in the population. Because they said, right, okay, how many? So statistically here, guys, so statistically, you've got maybe, I don't know, 1,000 people, let's say with Kandahar airfield. You've got 1,000, there's more, but say it was 1,000 people, right, on Kandahar airfield. How many of those people transcend into how many people those people get killed? How many of those people get injured? How many of these people get diseases? And they did that statistic, and then they said, right, and then they had a number. So per capita, this is the statistics. And then they looked at per capita in the United Kingdom, and the actual per capita was higher in the United Kingdom than it was on operations. Allegedly, I'm pretty sure I saw that study. Freddie is saying, wow, I just got Uber Eats advert. I hope you got paid for that. What do we mean, Uber Eats advert? I don't know what that means. Privkar, I think everyone needs to have money, but we need to have some more or less. Yeah, the financial system is broken, guys. Nobody can say now that the financial system is not broken. I mean, kids now leaving school now or leaving university, like there's more people competing for less jobs. The property prices are out of reach for everybody. You understand why people are just giving up on owning a house and they're living in vans and stuff. Right, so we're talking here about something about Tommy Robinson coming out of court or something. I don't know what it is. Right, UBI, they can, with universal basic income, they can turn off your money. If UBI is $1,600 a month, that will stop families having babies, because if they have 6 kids, it won't be enough. So Lisa Jane, no, I think this is £1,600 for everyone. This is literally for everyone. This is not just for adults. Like, universal basic income is for everyone. I don't know what age you would qualify at it, but obviously, when kids are smaller, they will get their universal basic income as well. It might be less. I would assume it's less, but universal basic income is for everyone, I understand it. Let me jump up. Right, guys, there's so many comments here. I think you served with my cousin. I keep meaning to ask him. Says Carol Buckley. Oh, all right, yeah, ask him. I was one para. Linda Clark is. Oh, guys, there's so many comments here. So many comments. Ads on YouTube stream, Sean. Right, listen, guys. I can't do anything about the ads on YouTube stream. They just come up. It is what it is. And Freddie is saying, danger, Russia wants to deploy 10,000 troops to Ukraine's western border. John Anderson, even rent is starting to get high. Yeah, and people think that it's landlords putting the rent up. It's not. It's the government's policies that is forcing landlords to put the rent up. Also, like, and I didn't understand this, if you get like your rent paid for, so if you're unemployed or whatever, or I don't know how it works, but if you get your rent paid for by the government don't give the landlord the rent, the money, sorry. The government give the person the rent, and then the person has to pay the landlord. So you can see where the problems are going to lie with that, can't you, guys? You can see where the problems are going to lie with that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. I hope I've got all your comments. I hope I've come to them all. There's so many. Right, I am going to close this down, guys. I am going to close this down. Right, hang on. Right, just a quick one. Right, we're talking about. So there's some comments here about Tommy Robinson getting out and stuff. And look, I called it as soon as Tommy Robinson got let out. They're calling Tommy Robinson out because he pulls big crowds for the Summer of Carnage. Right, there's nobody that pulls a crowd like Tommy. You'll be able to pull big crowds. And if you want big crowds, if you want the Summer of Carnage, if you want conflict on the streets of the United Kingdom, you're going to need that critical mass. And nobody pulls that bigger than Tommy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this live stream now. I'm going to close it down now. Don't worry, though, because this will all be uploaded onto YouTube. I'll speak to you guys soon. If I can close it. I might not be closed now. Is this not closing? Right, close. Yeah, right, there we go, close.